Hi, I'm Phil,
And I'm Celeste.
and we are Retire on 2K, exploring our options. And we'd like to welcome you to this week's video on YouTube. And so last week we talked about downsizing and what that is and what it's like. As we look to retirement years in the American culture, the vast majority of us will have to do some type of downsizing. Now, this is not negative. It shouldn't be fearful, but it's something where we can actually take a good look at our income and the bills that we have going out every month and make positive decisions on cutting back, on downsizing. Now, this is going to be different for every household. It's going to be different for each individual. And that's fine, but you will need to look at that and see how you can do this and make it happen for yourselves. Now, our goal here is to provide accurate information for you so that we all have the ability to make wise choices. And so as we look to the future, we have a scripture that we wanted to share with you, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 from the Bible. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, God, and he will direct your paths. And so we love that scripture, and we do lean on the Lord and seek God's direction. And so in doing that, we also know that we tend to overthink a lot of things in our lives. And so thoughts are good, but action is what brings results. So thoughts are good. It's good to think, but we have to come to the point where we're prepared to take action.
And speaking of action, Phil, we are starting a 5-day freedom challenge. Number 1, it's our first one. There will be more. And this one is on downsizing your expenses. And with that freedom challenge, we have a free booklet that gives you 5 different areas that you can downsize. And we just want you to choose one. Just choose one. Don't be overwhelmed. Choose one. Work on that. And then post on the social media page that you have found us on, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Post what you're doing, and we'll provide some accountability and some encouragement. And then in your post, put hashtag Retire on 2K Freedom Challenge, and then we'll be able to find you. So taking action is better, right?
Yes, absolutely. So as we look to the future, we're excited about it. But you know what? We have something new today. We have a guest that we're going to interview with you. Her name is Kim. She is a dear friend of ours, and we were neighbors of hers at one time. So Celeste, why don't you introduce Kim?
And Mykayla.
Mykayla, I'm sorry.
So Mykayla, we just love you, and we have enjoyed watching you follow a path that you felt God was leading you on. And a few years ago, that actually started with downsizing. So would you mind sharing with us, what did that look like, initially when you made that decision?
Yes.
I'm so happy to see your happy, smiling faces again. I miss you. So yeah, my story briefly is I retired at age 47 early and drastically changed my life to accommodate my new goals. I got rid of the big house, most of my stuff, my financial security from a generous paycheck. I walked away from a successful career, my friends and family, and moved to Costa Rica to do humanitarian work. I took only 4 boxes, my beloved kitty cats, my mountain bike, and entered a challenging foreign land without speaking much Spanish at all.
Wow. And that was a big change to go from a big house and 40-some years of accumulation to 4 boxes.
Yes.
Yes.
Was that hard? Did you experience any, doubts or difficulties during that time, or were you just focused and going for it?
I was so committed to this, there was no turning back, and it didn't happen overnight. So basically, I loved my 22-year career as a marketing director at a great high-tech company, Mentor Graphics. I had everything in life our culture tells us is important. Successful career, fancy title, the corner office, big salary, ability to buy and do pretty much anything I wanted to do, I grew up in a humble blue collar family, so I had the luxury of learning that money and stuff didn't make me happy. So I was in a really dark place for various reasons, and I felt completely hopeless and didn't really have much of a desire to continue on as I was experiencing life. I was so frustrated with my inability to find happiness myself that I kind of turned to the Lord and just said, Uncle, I cannot make my life work.
Yeah.
Please help. And he radically changed me. So that's what changed everything. So he removed some really toxic relationships in my life and set me free from them and started directing me down paths that made me feel such incredible peace and joy in my soul for the first time in my life. He directed me towards doing humanitarian work, where I was helping women and youth struggling with homelessness and domestic violence. I felt so wonderful to serve God by helping people. I just wanted more. I mean, this is the feeling I've been looking for my entire life that I couldn't find. So I was gladly walking away from one life towards a new and scary, challenging life, but one that was really focusing on serving other people.
So you would say that the key step here, Kim, is to take the first step, move past thoughts and take the first action, and God will be with you.
Right. So there were 2 years of God preparing me after I started a relationship with him, and he changed me. So I started working with homeless street kids. I went down every Monday to downtown Portland and hung around these really scary looking kids with the spiked hair, the tattoos, and, the tough characters. And I just saw these damaged kids that were just struggling and hurting and putting on this big tough act, and really got to know them and love them. Now, when some of these kids would get their first apartment, it was just a bare room. They had nothing. And so I looked around my big house where I lived alone with my kitties and went, oh, I'm going to give them this stuff. I started cleaning at my house, one room at a time, one thing at a time, to make these kids happy and to help them start their new life. And I realized this stuff I had meant nothing to me. So the more I let go of, the more I had to give to others and move towards in a different direction that was just bright and shiny and wonderful to me. So to me, it was a gradual thing happening the last 2 years of my job working. And at some point I would come to work and go, I don't want to be here. I want that feeling all day long. I want to be poor. I want to choose to be poor and just be blissfully happy and spend my time doing what makes me happy. And it's a choice. This is a choice we can all make. We don't have to be stuck in that rut.
I love what you said about giving things away. It kind of actually opened up your hands to be able to receive from God.
Yes, I think our stuff that we cling to, we work so hard to buy and maintain, is a big anchor. And we're so caught up in the busyness of acquiring more of the stuff and maintaining the stuff. And we're just succumbing to all the billions of advertising dollars. I know about advertising and marketing. And so we're just so caught up in this lifestyle that I don't think we're really putting any thought into. But when God really works on your heart and shows you what real fulfillment and meaning looks like, everything changes. If you're brave enough to just let go and be open to change and move.
And do you feel like you received any opposition from your friends or family or coworkers? Did they think you were crazy for downsizing like that?
Absolutely. They said, you're 47 years old. You are living the dream. You're making bank. You have the corner office. You fly around the world for a living. You can do anything you want in this world. I've been accused of having a midlife crisis and all that. And I said, no, I am finally the happiest I've ever been in my life. It has nothing to do with money or success or power, any of those things. That's a lie our culture tells us. I found that out personally, growing up poor, having money, it's a lie.
Mm-hmm. All right. You're doing some good preaching here, girl.
Yes.
So you went from what you said, the big corporate job and the big house. What does your life look like now? I know you had a period of time in Costa Rica, and hopefully we can talk to you about that on another video. But what does your simplified life look like now?
Well, I learned briefly, I learned a lot from living amongst the Costa Rican culture. It took me a while to reprogram my type A personality and my North American busyness and my searching for the self-worth that came from doing. I was a results junkie at home and at work. So this beautiful culture, I saw people slowly moving about with great peace and love and focus on relationships. They spend all their time with relationships and just spending time with family and friends. And being around that helped me beam down off of my North American culture and just stop and live in the moment. So that was a process, certainly not an event. And I'm still struggling with that as I've re-entered the States. But when I come back here, because I really overestimated my ability to learn Spanish fast, you can't really be helpful if you cannot communicate with others. But when I learned, I came back to my little tiny cabin that you've seen, my 165 square foot cabin without any indoor bathroom. So I was finding myself going out in the middle of winter to go use my homemade toilet. It is a short lawn chair with a toilet seat on it, placed strategically over a hole, and it has a handy shovel nearby. So living in this tiny home with my 2 cats was getting a little crowded, so I did add on a bathroom, and I now have a grand total of 430 square feet.
Wow,
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Which is plenty of space for us. I put a lot of thought into organizing my space to utilize every inch of this home. I built an inexpensive large screen porch outside, which is where we spend most of the time year round. We sleep out there in the summer. So this inexpensive outdoor area really allows us to live comfortably in a really tiny space because we love being outdoors in nature.
Yeah.
So,
and you don't. You still probably only have about 4 boxes of stuff, right?
I took 4 boxes of stuff to Costa Rica, and I brought those same 4 boxes back. So I did have some stuff stored here in my tiny cabin, but I really have resisted our culture in wanting to accumulate. And it's helpful when you don't have a lot of space. There's no place to put anything. So it makes it really easy.
Yeah. So living in America that way, have you found resistance or people giving you a hard time, in America for living in such a simple way? Or do you find that people are interested and encouraged by it?
I think the people from my old life probably think I'm a bit nutty still because they know how I'm living compared to how I lived before and how they're living now. And I'm sure they just don't understand why I would choose to do that. They're still caught up in that cycle, right? Yeah. But I meet people all the time that are really impressed by how I'm living and would like to know more about how to get into this type of life. I mean, I think people are starting to see that our lifestyle really isn't working out for people and they want something different.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how does trusting God, you talked about God kind of leading you into this life. How does trusting God now look different than trusting God before look?
Well, it took me a while to get used to no paychecks being deposited into my checking account every month. And in fact, my dwindling account from the equity of the sale of my home. And that, as a person who's really hung on to security, being a single woman all of her life, it was pretty scary to just not have any income coming in. And here I am, 47, having to wait till 59 and a half to access my retirement fund. So it was the time I really had to truly step up and trust God for my finances. I mean, in the Bible, it talks about him taking care of the animals, providing food and shelter, and so he's going to do the same for us. And I really just had to get that logic out of my head and get it into my heart and really live it. And he's given me a lot of wisdom. So I enjoy living a super simple and inexpensive life, out in the middle of nowhere, far away from people. And I've learned to make a lot of substitutes and creative ways of looking at my financing to really pull off living on very, very little.
And what about giving up things like cable or, all the extras that we kind of feel are important for us? What about giving up
Well,
things?
definitely. So that's one of my line items. So I went through my checkbook on all those reoccurring expenses. I got rid of cable 10 years ago because I think it's absolute garbage and is injecting, negative things in my mind and my soul I don't want there. So that was really easy for me to give up. But I looked at every single reoccurring cost. So do I need to buy the ad-free Pandora music subscription? No. I really just eliminated everything. Do I need to go to the hair salon and get my hair colored? No, they sell these little boxes and they're actually pretty easy to put in your own hair. So I don't buy good wine anymore or nice cheeses. I go to the grocery outlet. I go to the Dollar General. I go to Bi-Mart for the basics. And I shop for my fresh food at Natural Grocery. I buy good quality fresh food because that's mostly what I eat. So I'm saving a ton of money on food. Living where I live, my only utilities are $50 a month on electric bill and $700 propane heat for the whole winter. And if I had a wood stove, that would be zero. But smaller spaces mean smaller bills. And living away from city services mean no water, no sewer bill, no garbage bills. I recycle or burn everything. But I tell myself all the time, coming back into our culture after 3 years, is this a want or a need? A person needs very little. The rest is resisting advertising temptations because we don't need that stuff. We don't need brand new stuff. I shop at thrift stores for clothes and household items. The Restore and the Humane Society stores are my favorites. Why?
That's true.
Why walk to the doors of Home Depot and pay all that money for a tape measure when there's one for $1 or $2 at the Restore? I mean, yes, it takes some time, but you're being a good steward of your money and resources and not wasting things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I've learned to substitute things that cost money with things that cost nothing. And I love them so much more. Like reading a good book from the library. Hello, a library is free, people. They still make books,
Yes.
And I think they're very accessible to most people everywhere too, a library. So, Mykayla, what is one tip? Not everyone is going to be out in the woods or go to another country, but everyone can do some form of downsizing. What is one tip that you would give to the people who are watching this video?
I think it's just a whole methodology shift. I mean, I think people don't realize that in our country, our poorest person is stinking filthy rich compared to 95% of the world. I mean, we are so blessed here. Mm-hmm. And so I think if you, the more you get aware and knowledgeable about how other people on the planet live, especially in third world countries, you can learn to become happy being content with what you have because we have so much. So I think it's more of a methodology shift, not as an individual thing, and just like look around and go, look at everything I have. I don't need anything. Mm-hmm. And just being happy, living with what you have and living in the moment. And I think that's the overarching key that people need to shift into. And then all those other things are a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. And stop comparing yourself, right, to people above you and start giving. That's one thing that I've heard you say is that giving to others really made a positive impact for you.
Yes, because by being around people that are have more need than you have, you just feel lucky, and you feel a little guilty for wanting more because you see others that have so little. And so that's like the biggest favor and gift that God gave me is just that perspective, because everything else is easy after you mentally shift to that place.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Do you have anything to add to or ask, Mykayla?
Well, I do know that when you downsized, the amount that took place over a period of years, it would probably cause a earthquake, if you will, in the minds of your friends and business associates. I picked that up from what you had to say, and rightfully so. But, I just thank you, Mykayla, for sharing with us and for, just telling us what it's like and what a blessing it is to not have so much, and it's a personal goal to be there, not the fact that a bankruptcy or something like that put you there.
Mhm.
But irregardless, to come to the point where we can be thankful for what we have and realize, like what you just said, Mykayla, that the poorest of us are actually very rich compared to other cultures. That's so true. And thank you so much for what you
Mhm.
shared.
Yes, and
You're
thank you
welcome.
for joining us. And we just bless you with
Mhm.
more love, more
Yes.
people to give to, and more people to give or bring joy into your lives,
Yes.
into your life as you share with others. Thanks for sharing with us. We really appreciate it, and we're excited to talk to you in the future about what you learned in Costa Rica. I know some of the things that you shared with me really impacted me, so
Yeah, we'd like to hear that.
we look forward to that. Thanks for sharing with us.
God bless.
My pleasure, friends. Bye-bye.
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 Well, we are excited to have had Mykayla on with us. We're so thankful for the words and the information that she shared with us. We look forward to the future, and we look forward to next week. We're so thankful that you joined us this week, but we're going to take a look next week at a way to live that I want Celeste to tell you about.
Well, part of exploring our options is exploring other cultures, because, as Kim said, some people go other places to live, other cities in the United States or other places outside the country. So we'll post some pictures, and you can see and maybe guess where in the world are Phil and Celeste. But until then, would you please subscribe, like, hit the notifications button so you know when our videos come up. Leave us a comment, but most importantly, take this challenge. Take this freedom challenge. Get that little booklet. There's 5 things. You can choose one.
Just one.
And you'll see in that booklet 10 things that we did that cut, get this, $1,600 a month from our budget. That comes out to almost $20,000 a year we save just by these 10 simple things that we cut that really didn't hurt us
Not
at all. We didn't feel the pain of that at all. So take the challenge, and you'll see the link below this video.
God
Thanks
bless
for joining
you.
us.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.